Hello everybody, today I'm watching Improbable Tales of Survival by Salmonella Academy.
Hey kids, the human spirit is a very powerful thing. With the right temperament, it can allow us to survive things you wouldn't believe. However, some people are stronger than others. For example,
Hold on a second. I wouldn't exactly call a baby a fragile wimp. Kids can survive practically anything. They can fall. They can survive like a 2-story fall, get back up, and be perfectly fine. I'm exaggerating, of course, but kids can survive a lot of damage.
For example, I've never so much as broken a bone in my life. Haven't been hospitalized
Me
since
neither.
that first time 20 years
I
ago.
have never
so
broken
I'm
a
like
bone.
90% certain if I'm ever forced to dance with death, my soul's pussying out to the great beyond first thing. On the other end of the spectrum, you got guys like Phineas Gage. Gage was a 25-year-old railroad worker in mid-19th century Vermont. He and his crew were
I think I might know who this is, and I think I know what this is going to be about. I think this guy is going to get a metal rod straight through his face.
busy gang blasting rock to prepare the roadbed for a newly planned route. This involves a big hole being drilled into the ground, filled with gunpowder, and packed down using a tamping iron. Well, being the gentleman and scholar that he is, Gage decides to lean forward and look directly into the hole, right? Now, the first rule of gun safety is to never look down the front of a gun. Everyone knows that. Gage basically just turned the earth into a gun and decided to put his head right in front of its gaping barrel. And wouldn't you know it, the powder goes off.
Yup.
The tamping iron shoots up
going
into
straight through his
cheek,
head.
moseys right on through his frickin' brain, and goes soaring out the
And
other
he somehow
side,
survived
landing
this.
80 feet away, all smeared with blood and thought
Wait,
juice.
Wait, it went back? It actually left his head? I thought it got stuck inside. See, if it gets stuck inside, then it's stopping the blood flow. When an object gets inserted into your body, like let's say you get stabbed with a knife, do not pull out the knife, because if you do, you're going to bleed out faster. Let the knife stay in. With this, I don't see how he could possibly survive this. He should bleed out because there is nothing stopping the blood flow.
Now, by and large, Gage should have dropped dead immediately and been thrown into a ravine for his blatant disregard for
He
OSHA
definitely should have.
regulations, and that would have been the end of it. But I guess Shiva Gautama Christ-chan, the one true god, decided Gage still had unfinished business down here on Shit Outta Luck 3, because after a few minutes of twitching on the ground, he got up, looked around, and thought, well, now's a good time as any for my yearly checkup. According to the doctor
Absolutely
he went
not.
to, while Gage
There's
was
no way.
retelling the story of what happened, he suddenly started vomiting all over the place, the effort of which, and I quote, pushed out about half a teacupful of the brain, which fell upon the floor. He didn't say what they did with it after. I'm picturing his dog just running over and immediately scarfing it down, then being plagued with the memories of a human railroad worker for the rest of his life. In the months following,
Imagine that. Imagine if you eat someone's brain, you absorb all their memories.
Gage made a near complete recovery, physically anyway. He did lose a bit of his mind, which caused him to lose his mind a bit. Whereas Gage was once an upstanding, hardworking citizen, his untimely brain blast transformed him into an angry, incoherent drunkard, mumbling, quote, the grossest profanity whenever he deemed fit, and showing little to no regard for human life whatsoever. Naturally, he was fired from his job at the railroad, so Gage ended up wandering the earth, earning money any way he could. For a while, he hung out at Barnum's American Museum in New York City.
How is he still a
basically
functioning
making an exhibit
adult?
of himself, standing there with the tamping iron like, hi,
functioning
this
human.
went through my brain. Bye. He later had a stint as a farmhand in California and a stagecoach driver in Chile, which I don't know who let the guy with severe brain trauma and no depth perception drive a vehicle, but whatever. Over time, he actually became a lot more functional until finally, 10 years later, when his brain remembered, oh yeah, I shouldn't exist, leading to Gage having a bunch of seizures and dying at age 36. A similar story happened with one Ron
he should have
Hunt
been dead
in
immediately.
2003. He was an American construction worker who was drilling a hole above his head when the ladder he was standing on decided to give way, leading to Hunt landing face first on a 1.5-inch auger drill bit. The drill went straight through his left eye and out the back of his skull. To give you a reference of what 1.5 inches of drill looks like, here's the actual x-ray that doctors took when Hunt arrived at the hospital. Miraculously, the drill ended up just kind of pushing his brain out of the way, leading to no cognitive impairment whatsoever. Matter of fact, Hunt was perfectly lucid while the doctors tried to figure out the best way to take the thing out of his head.
How can that be possible? It's a good thing they left it in and didn't try to take it out, because if they did, he would definitely already be dead. But how is he still alive now? I guess he's just built different. These people are just freaks of nature.
Initially, they considered cutting it out, but that
If they
would
can
have been
survive
too
stuff
messy.
like this.
So eventually they decided to literally just unscrew it from his head, like, alright, hold him still now. Oh, you fucking MILF. Lefty Lucy. Does that mean the top or the bottom? What? It's a rotating circle. And, okay, you hold on for 1 sec. Look, one way the top goes left, one way the bottom. So which? Clearly the one on top. Why? Tell me why. Why clearly? Same reason north is up on the map. It's just common practice. Alright, well, sorry for not subscribing to your Eurocentric propaganda, Dan. You soggy cunt. Anyway, what were we doing? If you think Hunt was just a little too
trying to
lucky
save
with
his
this
life?
incident, don't worry. According to Snopes, he was self-employed and didn't have insurance. So while the accident didn't ruin his life, you can sleep easy knowing that hundreds of thousands of dollars in medical bills and rehabilitation costs probably did. Our next tale revolves around...
He probably wished he was dead. Once he saw the cost, he probably wished he didn't survive.
Greg Rasmussen, a British
American healthcare, everybody,
who was studying wildlife in Zimbabwe. One day, he got reports of a highly endangered rhino being spotted in the area, so Greg took to the skies in a single-passenger plane to track the beast. Fate was looking down at Greg that day, and after a moment, it said, "No, rhino must die." And a huge gust of wind came out of nowhere, sending Greg into a tailspin, crash landing right in the middle of the untamed African bush. When Greg woke up, he found that his legs looked like used up tubes of toothpaste, so he was essentially trapped right where he was.
So both his legs just got mangled.
Greg was dehydrated before he even took off, hoping to get water at his destination. And just when things looked like they couldn't get any worse, they got worse. A group of elephants showed up and started harassing and straight up stampeding at Greg. With no other option, he starts banging on the wreckage as hard as he could. The elephants went, "Ha!" and decided to leave him alone. He was also approached by a pack of hyenas and actual lionesses on the hunt. But fortunately, animals are all morons.
What were they hunting
so the same
for?
trick worked on them too. Greg spent an entire day
Food
and night
or a
pinned under
mate?
the wreckage, fighting off wildlife, severe dehydration, and extreme temperatures before finally being rescued the next morning. Incredibly, after over 100 operations, doctors managed to get Greggy's leggies up and running again. Although he was now 3 inches shorter, which is probably for the best, because now they can just stick the keys to the plane on top of the fridge so he never has another incident like this again. So, moral of the story, us humans...
How could he possibly not bleed out? If both his legs were mangled, he was dehydrated, his legs were mangled. There was a bunch of wild animals which for some reason all got scared the moment he started banging on the plane. He should not have survived that. This isn't exactly impossible to survive, but the chances were incredibly slim, to say the least. Just the legs alone, being completely mangled and bleeding, is what should have done him in. Unless he wasn't like bleeding profusely or anything, then I guess he could have survived.
Humans are resilient creatures who will do anything in our power to survive. And just as Greg Rasmussen banged on his destroyed plane to ward off predators in Zimbabwe, you should bang on your keyboard right now to ward off predators online. With Dashlane. In this day...
Yeah, so these people should not have survived. If this happens to any of you, you probably won't survive. If this happened to me, I definitely would not be able to come out of it unscathed. Well, unscathed. I wouldn't come out of it alive, because the chances of somehow surviving any of these three things, they're so low. Also, what he said is true. Humans, just like any other creature, will do anything we can to survive. An animal is the most dangerous when it's cornered and it knows it's about to die. So at that point, it fights back with everything it has. Same thing goes for humans. Anyway, hope you enjoyed that. Leave a like, subscribe, comment. Link to my Discord server is down in the description below, so you can check that out if you want. And I will see you in the next video.